welcome to the B Team Podcast. I am your host, Josh Safran, with my co-host,
Matt Mars,
and our permanent guest,
Rob Nelson.
We're here every week to talk to you about all things Bentonville, bourbon, and business. The B Team Podcast. Be here. Welcome to the B Team Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Safran, along with my co-host,
Matt Mars,
and our permanent guest,
Rob Nelson.
Bobby. You guys say Bobby. We've changed your name.
I know. We have him here today, too. I mean seems like it's been forever. It's like 4 or 5 in a row.
We got
showed up.
We got to fit him in between his vacations. I mean, I just asked if he's coming to our event next week, and he goes, I'm on vacation. I'm in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough life.
Yeah. I don't know if Matt's going to be here either, though. It's a good question.
I'll be here. I'll be here.
Whether he will or won't, he's telling the audience he'll be here. Well, we're here every Thursday for all things business, Bentonville, and bourbon. And you guys remember a few weeks back we did Blaze and Brooks? Remember we had them on? Yeah. I told you we had a store pick. So we had the Gents Play store pick. So I found a bottle, so we'll pour that today. So we'll have a sip. And I also want to introduce Mark Hufford. Many know him in town. He is Mr. Chick-fil-A. I know that's not your real name, but we call you Mr. Chick-fil-A here.
Yep.
He's been a good friend for years. I've known him from the tennis circuit. So we're going to talk quite a bit about Chick-fil-A today. But as our first guest, I'd love to give you a pour.
I will take one.
From the tennis circuit.
Yeah, oh, yeah. He was my first rival when I started playing. If he could beat me pretty regularly.
Josh outlasted me, though. He outlasted me on the tennis courts. And maybe it's just because, I'm gotten quite a bit older, and so I can't handle, out in the fierce tennis court rivalry with you. So now
he's defending himself,
which I love. Not working out.
But he's in much better shape than all of us. So he's got to be doing something right.
Yeah, exactly. Do you see the smile on Rob over there? Since you're picking on him instead of Rob, usually it's Rob that you're doing.
Well, we haven't gotten too far yet today. But let's smell it.
Yeah. Cheers. Welcome. Smell
Cheers.
it. Do all the stuff.
We'll do the Russ. What do you think?
Yeah.
I love this. This is a single barrel, 121 proof. This is the only one that they made for us. The first time that they've done something like this.
That is good.
Right? I mean, really tasty.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the heat of 120 proof.
No. A little bit of burn on the back end.
So, Rob's like, hey, look what it did to my eyes.
I wasn't going to comment, but you've been crying today before you came in. Everything okay at home with Carrie?
Everything's good.
All right.
It is now. I mean, she had to beat me down a little bit, but I'm recovering now.
It feels like you were crying a little bit, you and Carrie. Maybe just upset about
kind of match your shirt. A little pink, a little rare.
It is breast cancer month, and so we wanted to have pink eyes for the month of breast cancer.
That's good.
There you go.
There you go.
This is what happens when you weld and you don't wear a welding mask.
Note to the viewers.
Yeah. So what not to do.
What not to do.
Shorten your career a little bit.
Could have had Bobby doing it.
I know.
You don't want me welding. Yeah. I'd catch something on fire. I did stop by and say hi.
You did?
While he was welding. Made sure everything was looking good.
Did you distract him to a point where this caused the problem?
That could be what happened. I didn't even think about that. We can blame it on Bobby.
Bobby's fault.
Could be. I doubt it, but I mean, we could just go with it.
We could.
Let's talk Chick-fil-A.
Let's talk Chick-fil-A. So,
Push that back.
It's a good transition, welding to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Smooth.
Yeah. So I'm going to go back to my history with Chick-fil-A. I lived in New York for forever, and there was no Chick-fil-A's on the East Coast. So anytime we would go on vacation, the kids would go, oh, my God, we're going to Chick-fil-A. So as soon as I moved down here, like Chick-fil-A became the thing for my family. And the food is great, of course. But the experience, the customer service, when you drive through, there's people waiting in line. You always feel like you're getting more than food. Like, talk to me about the whole experience behind Chick-fil-A.
You're trying to say culture.
Call it.
The culture.
The culture.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, Chick-fil-A is sort of unique in our industry, although there's some great new competitors coming up. And not to say anything about some of the long-term, franchise restaurants like McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken. But Chick-fil-A, those brands are somewhat irrelevant today, in our marketplace. And so Chick-fil-A has been able to stand apart. And it is, as you said, Rob, it's the culture. It's very different, and it's people-centric, people-focused. And I would say, in a word, it's about care. It's care for the team, care for the community, care for our guests. That started from Truett Cathy, from the very beginning days. He was our founder, CEO. He died think he passed away in 2014.
Did he ever come out here?
The standard.
Did he ever come out here? You ever a chance to meet him?
I met him several times, not out here though, but I met him before I became a Chick-fil-A operator through another organization I was involved in. And then in those early years, I got to see him several times. Had some great experiences with Truett.
Yeah, that's
with
neat that you got to
cool.
meet him.
I've heard super impressive.
One of my favorite was actually when I was in Atlanta with my wife and our daughter Peyton, who was very little at the time. And Truett was still an elderly gentleman. And we go into his office, and Peyton sees this little old man, basically, right? And there's something about him, because she wouldn't do this normally. She just goes running up and jumps into his arms. I thought she was going to break his back or something.
Never met him before?
Never met him before. And he's just hugging her, and it was cool. This is before I became a Chick-fil-A operator. And so I always kind of cherish that memory of Truett with Peyton. I never saw her do that with anybody prior to that or after.
She would have run away from Rob. She would have run right to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
He's like, hopefully.
But yeah, he was a great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy, great leader.
And then so the culture?
Yeah, one of the things, I was thinking about this prior to the podcast. Do you remember Boston Market?
Oh, yeah.
In the day?
Yeah, absolutely.
So in the early 90s, Boston Market became a very direct competitor to Chick-fil-A, kind of the chicken-only restaurant thing. And they had a big, audacious, very audacious goal to do over $1 billion in sales by the year 2000. And I mean, they had this big marketing plan. They were very aggressive. And so what was going on in the early 90s at Chick-fil-A is there was some nervousness. And we got to figure out how to compete, how to grow faster, how to grow bigger. And this is swirling around Chick-fil-A corporate, right? So they have a big meeting at the headquarters. All the vice presidents are there. The marketing leaders in the marketing department. Truett Cathy is there. He's sitting at the head of the table. And really, as the meeting's going on, all this talk is going, they're trying to figure all this stuff out. And Truett just seems really kind of uninterested, just kind of sitting there quietly, hardly paying attention. And at some point in the meeting, very uncharacteristically of him, he stands up, slams on the table, like, enough. I'm really sick and tired of hearing all we're talking about here is how to get bigger. I want us to talk about how are we going to get better.
Love that.
If we get better, then the customers will demand we get bigger. And that principle, right, of let's focus on getting better, the bigger will take care of itself. It's a great principle, and I think it's still true today for us. And particularly, when I talk to friends like Jim Bryant, another local operator here, people have been around a long time in Chick-fil-A. We've got a great brand, we've got a great product. And the biggest thing that can hurt us is actually hubris, arrogance, complacency, which can happen in any great company, And so, man, we got to continue to focus on, continue to just get better at what we do. And, that's what I'm trying to do every day is not get complacent, certainly not get prideful. It's nice when people say, hey, Mr. Chick-fil-A, and, we love you guys and all that. But we also, I hear all the complaints, all the times we mess up, we make a mistake, 2,000 transactions a day, serving 4,000 or 5,000 people a day.
And that's in how many locations?
That's in one location.
2,000 in one location a day?
Yeah, we do 2,000 transactions in a day.
And yes, you will make a mistake
and
at least one or two times.
Think about, even if you're up at 96, 97% accuracy, if you do the math,
right,
that's a lot of missed straws, wrong sandwich, we forgot your fries. And so the getting bigger part just brings more challenges.
Oh, yeah.
So we want to make sure, man, let's make sure we're doing this really well.
So I want to touch on the getting better because you closed down your big location on Walton for how many months?
We were closed over for months.
Wow. So that means no revenue's coming.
It should have been 3, but you know how it is, right?
We know construction.
You know construction?
Yeah.
But when you close, there's no money coming in, right? And so all of a sudden it's, wow, I missed my Chick-fil-A, but the goal was to get better.
Yeah, and of course, our location, I mean, I'm thankful and blessed, but if you live in Bentonville and for the better part of over 16 years or almost 16 years, we're a single lane drive-thru. Most Chick-fil-A's are double lane drive-thrus. We don't have extra parking. It's just a difficult spot. And so we didn't have the capacity to take care of the customers. I mean, as much as people love us, they really grew frustrated driving on Walton. I heard it a long time. And so we needed to go to a double lane drive-thru just for the capacity. So we were able to do that. We got parking in the back. parallel on the sides. Now we got the 2 lanes. The outside lane is a mobile through, and that took a little while to get going, but just mobile orders. So as soon as they scan the QR code and they're going to get their food. And now a lot of days we're doing, in our peak hours, a lot of times we'll do a little more in the mobile through lane now than the inside. The regular.
Wow, that's great.
So that's really...
And that a lot changed during COVID, right? Where people aren't sitting down as much. Everything's to go. Like, there's going to be a time at some point where inside is almost totally gone and everything is going to be drive-through. Is that reality or not yet?
I don't know if that's reality. I mean, we don't want to lose a dining room. Now, I'll tell you again, just specifically the Bentonville location, we were built to do $3 million in sales. This year we'll do almost $9 million. And so the issue was the capacity in the kitchen. So if you noticed, we lost a playground.
I was kind of disappointed.
I know. That's a little bit of a hot spot still for some people.
Many times we had to climb up in that car to get our kids out, and they wouldn't come out.
My daughter grew up, playing in that playground. But in order to meet the needs of our location, our community, we had to expand the kitchen huge. So we moved that way up. Everything moved forward. We even have, maybe 90 seats where we had 150 before with the playground. So those are things we did, not because we just wanted to get rid of the playground,
right, but
just to try and serve the guests as best we can.
That's a big undertaking, expanding the kitchen and all that.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Now that kitchen's built to do, $13-14 million in sales for the future.
You build in growth.
Yeah, build in growth. That's right.
Well, what you've seen is the drive-through isn't a window; it's a door. It's so cool how
massive tornado door. Yeah.
So cool how they just walk right out.
Did when you decided to close, was that your decision and you push it up to franchisor and headquarters, or did they call you, or how do you guys decide to shut down for a few months?
We had, we were set up timeline-wise for reinvestment, and so that's a coordinator for Chick-fil-A corporate and the operator. We needed it a long time ago, but I was really thankful we got it when we did, and so, right now we're, drive-through is like 40-45% more sales going through that drive-through now than we were doing previously. So It's been helpful.
How many employees do you guys keep in each location?
About 100 at each restaurant.
That's amazing.
And we're trying to grow that. We need more.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. We'll have, 30 people.
And that's on 6 days.
On a peak shift. Right. It takes a lot to do $30,000 in sales in a day, 2,000 transactions. It's an endeavor for sure.
30,000. That's and the other piece too. When you go back to culture, and I've seen you and followed you multiple times on social media. Like, you're always shouting out certificates. People have been with you for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Like, you guys, it's one of those things where you think when you're in fast food, it's going to be a 15, 16-year-old kid that does it through high school and then moves on. But you've kept people for years and years and years through like a management trainee program.
Yeah, what I say is, Chick-fil-A, we're a people and leadership development company that sells great tasting chicken. Truett Cathy said, we're in the chicken business, but we're really in the people business. And I think that's true in any great company. I go to Jen's place, just to give you some props. The hair looks good, as good as Miss Sandra, last week.
Shout out to Miss Sandra.
But you guys, the same principles, you got to be focused on your people. The most important thing is who you hire, who you bring in the organization, continuing that cultural alignment, and then, we really want to develop people's potential. And because of the sales that we do, the organization we built, you can have full-time career people, not a ton of them, but I have people that, do the 401k and full health insurance benefits, and, it's a career for them. And then, of course, you have everything in between. You got part-time. And today what we're seeing, the biggest thing we're seeing right now with the economy, inflation, is a lot of full-time adult jobs that they're coming in and say, I need to work, in addition to that, a part-time job. I work in a place with a good culture, a place that's, a nice place to work, part-time for the next year or two.
Interesting. So somebody's got a full-time 40-hour job, and they're saying, I want to come in and pick up a shift in the evenings and Saturdays?
Yeah, 2-3 days a week, yeah.
And are they finding you? Are you advertising a little bit?
We're always advertising, again, because we can actually use more people. But that's what we're seeing a lot of right now, is part-time adults.
Nothing I'd like more than to pull up and have Matt take my order. Like, we're
hiring.
I'd be like,
we're hiring. But you have to be able to see.
Yeah. I know.
Those eyes.
I'd have to be like...
you said you'd have 95% great feedback. You'll have me putting stuff in the bags, and I'd be getting a grilled chicken sandwich and no fries, and I would order the crispy chicken, the fried chicken. It wouldn't be bad.
Josh is one of those customers that you would probably hear from. Just being around him a little.
Where's my Chick-fil-A sauce? I asked for 2. I only got 1. Then you put a Google review out there and go, they're cheapening out. I only got 1 sauce. How come I didn't get 2?
I love that chicken biscuit for breakfast.
Yeah, the original chicken biscuit.
Just super
Still handmade. The biscuit's still made from scratch.
It's so good.
Can you bring back my favorite dish? I used to love the bagel with the fried chicken and the egg and the cheese.
Sometimes something is just kind of every dog has had his day. Right? We can't. I don't think we can do that.
It didn't sell well.
I'll see what I can do for you.
But it didn't sell well.
It was a smaller item seller.
Now it's one of those corporate discontinues it, or you discontinue it. Or
yeah, corporate makes those decisions because obviously 3,000 Chick-fil-A's around the country, Canada, Puerto Rico. They make those decisions. They are doing a little bit of stuff regionally, but generally speaking, it's
they used to have.
standards.
Oh, go ahead. They used to have this chicken platter that was solid.
Yeah,
it was like they do a chicken breast, and then you have biscuits and gravy and eggs.
So if something's killing it here locally, like how much feedback do you have where you can say, listen, that bagel sandwich that Josh loved was the number 1 selling item. It doesn't sound like it was. And if you said, hey, I want to keep it on the menu, can we extend it out? I mean, there
was a period of time when Northwest Arkansas, the only place in Arkansas and a lot of other states where we sold the chicken gravy. Because the sausage gravy had come in as what was sold in most of the country. But here, chicken gravy was big, and we were able to keep that for quite a while. So,
how has the Uber Eats and all those apps affected your business? Positive, negative? DoorDash, all that stuff.
I mean, they're good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was a transition for us getting used to that. But they're a customer. I mean, obviously the customers where they're bringing it, but they're a customer of ours, and so this is a good part of the business.
Okay.
I mean, Chick-fil-A has to make sure the equation works well for profitability, but especially for Bentonville, I mean, people just can't get on. We have limited parking. There's only so we can get our lot. We can get that drive-thru and we can max that out, but we're not going to ever have any more parking spaces, no more seats in the dining room. And, this is an affluent place, so people love to just say, hey, just bring it to me.
My youngest would order 3 days from that DoorDash from your place if we'd let him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's the same with us. It's the young kids that I don't know how to do any of that. But they order they always have some kind of deal where, because I always ask them, I'm like, how does it not cost 3 times more? But
sometimes it does.
No, they must not tell me that part because they're like, oh no, Dad, it's not much different.
No. The Chick-fil-A cost $8 or $9. The DoorDash costs $10 or $11, right? And you're paying.
Okay, I got to go talk.
They're not telling. They're not being truthful.
Yeah, and then you got to put the tip in it. Yep, all that.
Just the tip.
Yeah.
But I always wonder because it's like you said, they have to have a good relationship with you guys have to, because you're probably dealing with a lot of the same delivery people that come in and out of there, and like they have a whole section for DoorDash in most places now, and it's
I think at the beginning it was a little bit of figuring out this relationship, because it was almost like maybe they were a little bit of annoyance to us because they're like a secondary customer. I think that's the way some of us thought about it, and we had to realize this is a very important customer base.
Right.
And
this is the person who doesn't want to get in the car or walk down there or whatever, and it's extra business, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it expands the business, and so I didn't look recently what the percentages are sales-wise, but it is helpful.
Yeah. So it's incremental sales?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And it doesn't impact you guys at all because it's your normal pricing, your normal margin level, anything above and beyond. Matt's paying for, even though he didn't realize it, right? He's hitting on Matt's end.
Yeah. I mean, we wouldn't do it if it wasn't a win for us, and so it works out well for both sides. I mean, that's obviously because we use Uber, DoorDash, Grubhub. I mean, we got multiples that are.
There's so many of them now.
I know you never would have thought that would do as well as it does, but it does.
Yeah.
I mean, COVID launched it, though.
Yeah.
I mean, COVID really launched it.
Mm-hmm.
How long were you guys with no dine-in service?
Oh, man. That does seem like decades ago.
Yeah,
it does.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It feels like it was 10 years ago. I think it was a year. Maybe it was longer than a
year.
I can't remember, honestly. Maybe I banished,
Yeah,
Although in some respects, life was pretty easy not having a dining room and just focusing on drive-thru. Because the complexities we have with dining room, carry out, third party, you know, DoorDash and all those. We got catering pickups. We got catering deliveries. We got the drive-thru. We got the mobile through. There's a lot of moving parts in there, and so it was actually kind of nice to have things simplified for a while.
But I bet you guys, like Ruth Chris, like it was really hard to do takeout on a on 5-course multi-$100 meal. But I bet you guys probably got a lot more business during that time. People wanted to eat out, but they couldn't go to the nice restaurants, so fast food must have picked up quite a bit.
Yeah. And unlike myself, there were some operators where their lots allowed them to go 3-4 drive-through lines, and they crushed it. I mean, it was like I had a little bit of envy. I'm in that Bentonville with a single lane, and these guys are going 3 or 4. They're like rolling, And so, it benefits some operators really well.
We're starting a conspiracy theory today that Chick-fil-A actually caused COVID. We're going to start that. We're going to start that today.
I'll edit that part out. Don't worry about it. And I had forgotten about the whole catering thing.
Oh,
so every one of our
Mm-hmm.
kids, when they were born, my brother would bring the Chick-fil-A platter because Gary would be like, "I want a platter."
The chicken nugget.
When they got the chicken nuggets platter, bring it up there.
Oh, those platters are the
so
best because then as it gets lower and lower, you can find all the little crispy ones.
So I got a question for you, Josh. What are those? When you're looking at people and gents plates, the culture you guys have, and I love it. I mean, I could talk about you guys for quite a while. But what are those key things you look for when you're bringing in people for your culture?
It's what you've talked about. We had Bill and Sheila on from Ozark Mountain Bagel. It's been a really common theme here within the group, and it's been probably the biggest surprise in the podcast around how important the culture is, the people, building better leaders. I mean, we talk about it at the Gents Place all the time. We don't talk to our team about how much did you sell today. Like we never have. It's a foreign concept. It's always, did we treat the team members well? Do they feel valued? When they do, they come into work and they have a great day. When they have a great day, they give great service on you guys. When you guys have a great experience, you spend money. And so having the right culture, bringing in the right people is so important to the business model. And if you have the wrong people in, you guys come in, don't have a great experience, you don't renew your memberships. Yeah. And so like that to me is what I see so cool with you guys is when I go to Chick-fil-A or when I go next door, I think there's a McDonald's, and I look at the difference in the lines when I'm driving past to go to these guys' house. There's no comparison. Like it's what you guys do is just so amazing and unique. And I hear people talk about their experience working there, and it's like that's where you want to go if you're in the fast food business.
Yeah, it's all about people. And today, we talk about the war on talent. It's at a whole nother level because people can go work anywhere, and so it's bringing in the right people that fit the culture, the values, and everything. But then we've got to provide a better experience. Our mission statement, Chick-fil-A is to create it's cultivating exceptional leaders to create remarkable experiences. But how are we being remarkable with our team members that work for me? It's a challenge right now to go. We got to be better, be the our community's favorite frontlines place to work is kind of how we look at it, and then working harder than we've ever worked to be the best place to work. And I think that's good. Yeah. That's good for the people that work for us. It's good for our community and stuff. So
we had two of my daughters. One worked at a fast food-like place in town, and another worked at another. And they lasted a month. And they came home and they would say, people weren't doing their jobs. People weren't nice to me. People were smoking weed in the back room. And they were going through all this stuff. And I'm going, but you don't hear turnover. You hear more people going towards your type of establishment. And when you talk about the Gents Place, if you want to cut hair, there's maybe 20 places in town to go. You want to work at a register, you can go hundreds of places here. Yeah. And yet you guys seem to be successful with staff. And it goes back to the culture and the way that you treat your team.
Yeah. And locally, we know Bentonville and the average price of a house. Very few people work for me outside of my high school kids live in Bentonville proper. Yeah. And this is true in the hospitality industry in general in Bentonville. Fireplace teachers, it's becoming more difficult. So that competitive aspect of you got to draw people in a lot of times from surrounding communities. Yeah. So we just have to, that's the reality of things right now. We just have to do a better job.
And downtown has exploded too. So that, there's so many keys that are about radio. Right behind you, literally, right? Mm-hmm. Those are apartments or condos that are open in.
They're high-end apartments, I believe. Yeah.
So that might
isn't
help
that
you a little bit.
430 units. It's a
lot.
large amount.
Yeah.
400 units?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's massive.
Yeah, Zach Wood is heading up.
They're all going to be coming to your place, though, if you really think about it.
I mean, they're just going to be able to walk right over.
Yeah.
It's going to be great for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
Maybe get a few employees.
Well, you never know. That'd be. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Bobby, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Me? Okay.
Easy layup for you. You're next. What's your favorite dish at Chick-fil-A? Like, what do you
I already mentioned it. It was the chicken biscuit. Breakfast. All right.
But you eat lunch there, dinner occasionally. Like, what's your go-to? Do you go to the nuggets? Do you go to the sandwich?
So, when I'm watching my weight and all that, I always get the tenders,
Yeah, the strips. Yeah.
the strips. Yep. Get a 3-pack strips for lunch, and that'll hold me over to dinner. Light carbs, no bread.
Chick-fil-A sauce or no sauce?
Well, I mean, the Chick-fil-A sauce is amazing.
Yep.
And yeah, if I'm a little hungover, then I'll get the fries. Well,
The fries are amazing. Yeah, the fries are amazing.
Being honest.
They're cure for the common hangover.
Yeah, for sure.
They are. I always know when Rob's going to Chick-fil-A that it was a bad night.
Matthew, what's your go-to?
Well, I like the spicy chicken sandwich.
The lops?
No, just the regular. I just like the pickle.
I
And
like all that stuff.
but the sleeper is the chicken noodle soup. A lot of people don't know this.
never had it.
It's amazing.
Really?
Yeah, and you wouldn't.
It's actually really
You would never think that it's. So whenever any of the kids are sick, they're like, "I want Chick-fil-A chicken noodle soup." So-
Really? Yeah.
But it's good. Like with the cool weather coming, get some next time you go. Rob's a big soup guy. So
Yeah.
And not that you guys are needing it, but if you want to lose a little bit of weight, I mean,
No, we do need it. No.
That chicken noodle soup is really tasty, and it's low calorie. I mean, it's actually.
it's solid.
As I've gotten older, I'm like, maybe I need to go to the soup instead of the strips.
What I'm hearing Mark say is, get rid of the strips.
Mark's like, you're hard. That's all.
recommendation.
It's a recommendation.
Don't forget the biscuit. Right to the soup.
Hey, I'm all about soup, so next time I'm there, I guarantee I'll be ordering some of that.
You know what?
Yeah, that's
I love
good.
the frozen lemonade. Have you guys had that? The frozen lemonade?
I haven't ever had.
Yeah, the frosted lemonade.
Frosted lemonade is
delicious.
It's delicious. Like my kids want to go for ice cream. I go, no. We're going to go for frosted lemonade. So good.
So, what's your favorite?
I will do the spicy chicken sandwich, not the Lux. It's very simple with the fries and a frosted lemonade. Like that's my go-to.
Yeah, I actually like when it sits in the bag for like 15 or 20 minutes and it's steamed and the bun gets softer. It's good.
So, Mark, what's your favorite?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to
And
have
you're there all the time.
I mean, this isn't trying to, buddy up with Rob Bobby.
Bobby.
But, I mean, I'm a strips guy, but
Yeah.
I've actually gone as of, I'm going to be 59 here soon. So I've gone to the grilled nuggets more.
Okay.
Just sort of.
Yeah.
also a healthier option than the chicken tenders?
Again, not talking.
Love those trips. Yeah. That grilled options make
He's like, you want me to write you out a list, Rob? Things that are better.
But I have to test the food, So like today I was testing the waffle fries before I came over here.
What a hard job.
I ended up getting the extra large waffle fry to test instead of like the small. And so I love our food. I mean, it
Yeah.
4, 5, 6 days a week, a couple times a day. And I don't get tired of it. I just love the food.
The one with the pimento cheese, did it do well?
Oh, yeah.
Did you try that?
I didn't try
I
it.
think you said it's gone now or it's leaving.
It's almost gone. But it's a huge seller. Yeah, it's really good. But get it with the spicy.
The spicy.
Yeah, not the regular, in my opinion. Because then you got the spicy with the honey and all that, and it's just delicious.
So Ross called me on the way in here and he's like, I'm not going to eat much lunch because I bet we're going to have Chick-fil-A when we get here.
I wasn't going to bring
I was like, I just saw him walking in. He doesn't have anything in his hands.
It's fine.
I was thinking for a podcast, that'd be unprofessional because then we got food in our tin.
Look at your.
I mean, I watch you guys eat with your mouths open. I think this is
What Mark said is he was going to bring soup because it's low calorie and they couldn't get it here. They couldn't keep it hot.
Sorry,
This is a tough audience.
Tough crowd.
I'll edit that out as well.
Yeah, like I thought this was about me. I thought you guys grilling me.
He did say that you could take his quarter zip, Paul. You said
Yeah.
that's a gift for you when you go. That is nice.
Well, need it long. I'm starting to get wondering.
I did have a question for you on the franchise model and the pros and cons, because I get asked that all the time. Jen's Place is a franchise. And I often use Chick-fil-A because they say to me, what do you think about Jen's Place franchise? And I say, at Chick-fil-A, the sauce is the sauce, the bag is the bag, the fries are the fries. So I'm curious how accurate I am in that statement and how much impact that you have and feedback. Because on my side, like I can get the CEO on a regular basis and hey, can we try this and tweak this and test this? So with 13 stores, I have a lot more opportunity to try things. I'd imagine on your end, probably a little different experience.
I mean, it's still different. You know, the Chick-fil-A franchise model is unique. You know, most franchise models are more investor models. You know, you've got the Matthews Brothers here in Northwest Arkansas. They have 40-some McDonald's, and you think of a lot of those places more as a real estate company. But Truett Cathy, you know, when he started this deal back in 1967,
wow,
the first Chick-fil-A, Greenwood Mall, Atlanta, right? He wanted it for that entrepreneurial-minded or entrepreneurial-spirited person who didn't have a lot of money. It wasn't just an investor, but it was somebody who wanted to have their own small business. Because remember, they started in the malls. In fact, True was that's a whole other story, kind of pioneering getting restaurants into malls. Back in it wasn't really something that happened.
So they weren't freestanding early on? They were in the malls?
No, it was all malls.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, for quite a while. And it was one operator, one store for decades. And then eventually, you know, some great leaders, you know, these guys are, hey, we want a little bit more income capacity. Yeah. So then he allowed two. And in Truett's lifetime, you could never have more than two freestanding restaurants. And you might have a mall, something like that, but as a third location. But it was only two freestanders.
What was the rationale?
In your community, because the idea is that we're locally owned. You're a franchise, but we're locally owned. We're involved in our community and our small businesses. So today, it is possible to have three freestanders, but that's it. That's probably all they'll ever have. Now, you can make a great living doing that, but it's just the idea that there's local.
So, sorry, so three is the max you get off?
So, yeah, it's three is the max. That's right. That's right.
So, if they have a great operator like yourself and a territory opened up, again, they'd say, Mark, I'm still sorry. We can't give you a fourth. We're going to farm out, even though they may not find another Mark Huffer?
Yeah, well, they will. I mean, they're really good at what they do. Now, so what do we have? Over 3,000 locations. We open 100, 150 a year. But do you know how many people apply each year?
Tons, right?
Probably like 90,000, I think was the latest I've heard, about 90,000 a year. So when I was applying, it was probably 20, 25,000 back in 2007 or so. So there's a lot of great people out there that want to get involved in Chick-fil-A. So they can find really good people, but you can make a great living, great income, great life having one Chick-fil-A. You know, when I became a multi-freestanding operator in 2019, I think less than 10% of the Chick-fil-A operators had two freestanders, two or three. You know, so two's great. Three would be, you know, even better if that day ever comes. If it doesn't, I'm good.
And what's the application process, and how did you get selected over everybody else? Is there looking interviews?
A lot of it is your organizational structure. You know, do you have tiers of leadership and great people? Do you have the systems in place to go, you know, literally you're doubling your business? Do you have the systems in place for that? You know, are you running the numbers? Are you maximizing what you have right now?
But even the first one, when you had to interview the first time and they didn't know you from Adam, right? I mean, other than the fact that your daughter jumped into Founder's lap, I mean, that probably helped quite a bit.
Yeah, jumped into Truett's arms. Well, I don't think that probably had anything to do with it.
It probably hurt more than it helped.
I don't think they could care less. When they make a decision on an operator, they used to say, the joke was, it's harder to get into CFA than CIA.
Yeah.
And that was back then.
Yeah.
You know, now, I mean, I think, shoot, man, I probably wouldn't have a chance to get in now. It's so doggone competitive.
Well, what stood out with you, and what was the application process like?
So I went through over 20 interviews over a 6-8 month period of time. I was in the whole thing close to a year and a half, but when I really got into it is, maybe it was close to a year process, and that's pretty normal. It could be 2-3 years or more for people trying to get in. So again, you know, the most important thing we make in any organization is who you bring in the organization, or as Colin says, like who you get on the bus. And so at the beginning, the process says you're trying to woo Chick-fil-A. They look as a marriage. Like once they commit, man, they're committed to you. But at the beginning, you're trying to woo them. Mm-hmm. And what I was told is there's going to come a point, you'll kind of notice it when, if things go well for you, you're going to realize, you know, like now
it flips.
It flips. And what the flip is hey, we like this guy or gal. We think they're fit. The character, chemistry, competence thing, the things they look at.
Character would make the best.
Well, you're a character, right?
Yeah,
He's a character. There we go.
Instead have me out there in the chicken suit. Maybe we want Bobby or the cow suit.
Bobby.
It's the cow suit.
Yeah.
The cow suit, yeah. I never got in the cow suit, but then it's like, where's that location where this guy or gal, family, whatever, that they're going to want to stay there and hopefully be a Chick-fil-A operator in that community forever. Not that they have to be. I mean, there's chances to move down the road, but that's really the process. And it starts with your character. Does this person have the right character attributes to be an operator? Entrepreneur-minded, spirited.
We passed that.
Take on challenges and all that, and then the chemistry aspect, the fit for the culture, those kind of things, and they're really good at what they do. They're really good.
Now, go ahead. Good. Is this a legacy potentially where you could pass it down, or do they have to go through the process?
So remember I was talking about the owner-operator agreement, the franchise agreement is unique. So this is what people don't understand is today it costs $10,000 for to become a Chick-fil-A operator. That's it. 90,000 people applying.
10,000 is just what the franchise fee.
That's the franchise fee.
That doesn't count royalty and all the other stuff. That's just
that's the franchise fee. So, but here's the deal: I don't own the location. Chick-fil-A owns the site. They lease it to me, and then when I retire, I die, whatever, I can't pass it on to our daughter Peyton. I can't sell it. The profits I make through the business, or any operator makes through the business, is what you have, and so that's the model. It's really unique. In fact, I would say it's really good to say that, Matt, because I think the genius of Truett, as a leader, he's incredible. But the genius of Truett was actually the owner-operator contract agreement, that franchise agreement. And again, he wasn't looking for really wealthy, successful. He was looking for entrepreneurial-minded people who their life changes forever if they become an owner-operator. I was working in a nonprofit world out in Colorado Springs, and, I knew if I became a Chick-fil-A owner-operator, this changes our family's next generation or two.
It's almost like winning the lottery.
It was.
Right?
It really was for me. It was, and now for me, I'm a Christian guy. As I'm going through the process, I'm like, I think this is where God's directing me. I think this is where I'm going. I'm going for it. My life wouldn't have ended if I didn't become a Chick-fil-A operator. But I just knew it was going to be special. I was out in Colorado Springs. I was working a little bit part-time for the owner-operator there. And I was in a suit every day back in those days working for the founder, CEO of a nonprofit out there. And then I'd literally race out of there at 5 o'clock or whatever, change in the Chick-fil-A bathroom out of my suit in my little team member uniform, and, go to work in the register, breading chicken, kind of whatever they wanted me to do because I wanted to kind of get a feel for the business. Yeah. And, I just fell in love with everything about Chick-fil-A.
Now, is it true that what I've always heard is you kind of have to work up through Chick-fil-A to be selected as an owner operator?
Early years you did. And then over time, and certainly by the time I came in the mid-2000s, they realized that certainly there's a lot of guys and gals out there for sure that started out Chick-fil-A as teenagers and worked in their 20s and then eventually in their mid-20s or something become an owner operator. But there's also great value bringing people from the outside like myself who understand, wow, I took my career and all my experience as a 41-year-old or so when I started and brought that in. And because, the truth is some of those folks that haven't done anything else may not always appreciate what they have with Chick-fil-A. So it's a balance. So they bring in both.
Yeah, and the whole,
which is smart.
It's genius because basically they're all their restaurants, but they get someone will fall on their sword for their one or two that they have and make sure it's always perfect. Whereas when you're someone that owns 40 restaurants, you can't. Right. So they know that's that you can make great money.
That's true. That's right.
But they also know that you're not going to let it go away or slip because you'll lose it.
Yeah. And really, those guys and gals in those early years in those malls, they weren't making a lot of money. They just wanted to have their own little business, their own small business. Mm-hmm. Later, especially as I came in, the volume started going way up. The money you could make went way up, which then draws in a lot more competitive people, higher level people, and so it's been interesting from when I came in just to understand the past. But some of these guys and gals that were here 30 years ago, the pioneers, I mean, I stand on their shoulders, from what I have.
Now, if the Mark Hufford in Chicago is doing a poor job, for example, can they replace? Can they say, hey, listen, you're not representing my brand well, and we want to move somebody out? Or how does that all? Not everybody's going to be doing as well as you. And I assume that the store itself and the brand sells itself, but there's got to be bad operators along the way. Like, what happens when that happens?
We're like anybody else. And Chick-fil-A, like I said, they're really good at what they do, but they're not perfect because you have no idea what people are going to do. So, I mean, look, you can run a poorly run a Chick-fil-A, and you're not going to just get booted out. So there's Chick-fil-A's are run great, whatever along the way. But if you're doing something unethical, those kind of things, I mean, yeah, you're going to.
Right.
They have protections in there to protect the brand for sure, and that happens sometimes. I mean, there's Chick-fil-A. I mean, again, not perfect. There's some crazy stuff that's happened out there, and you go, "Wow, how'd that person get in?" Well, they're human, and they did some really dumb stuff.
Yep.
But no, it's. I know it's my wife's favorite food to go grab. She loves the salads that you guys have, and
also healthier than the chicken strips.
she loves that you guys always have really good health too. That you guys, they have to go through a lot of training because they speak to you, and it's not just, I don't know, it's just a different experience, and it's got to be hard to keep the people like you guys do.
So if one of the viewers out there want to learn more about Chick-fil-A and come work for you, what's a good way for them to?
They can just go on Indeed and look up, Chick-fil-A downtown Baton Rouge, Chick-fil-A West Walnut. Like I say, we're always hiring, and that's part of who we are. Is we hire people who are way more qualified for fast food. I mean, it's amazing how many people I have with college degrees and other things that they're looking for the right culture and a place where they feel valued, taken care of.
Yep.
In fact, we hired a lady who has been working for us just a few months. She had a pretty high-level job, and she worked remote, so she could work anywhere. She'd be by herself in her apartment in another state. But she came back here because her mom was end-stage stuff, hospice, and she came to work for us, and we hired her knowing that there's going to be days where she just had to say, hey, man, my mom's sick.
Sure.
I got to go help her out. And she's been with us over 6 months. And for me, that's a win-win because she's a great lady. She comes in, she is incredible with the team and with the guests. And we've worked with her when she's got to go in, and her mom just passed away a couple of weeks ago. And, I don't know what will happen with her, but there's the opportunity, the chance that she's going to go, man, you guys have been great with me. She said, I want to be around people, not just work by myself. And so I said, hey, there's great opportunities here for you. See what the future holds. And so you love getting great people. And that's what makes us, not that other companies don't get great people, but you put them in this Chick-fil-A system, and the opportunities, again, are great because we just keep growing. I mean, you guys just keep eating the chicken.
With over 100 people, I mean, you've got to have multiple levels of probably management, and there's probably a lot of upward.
Yep. So I have my officers that are over both stores,
right.
And then I have what I call them directors, right? So you have your operations directors, like the general manager. You have a front of house director, a back of house director. We have a training director. Then we have area leaders or supervisors.
These are salaried positions?
Generally not salaried. It's kind of something that generally you don't do in our industry.
Yeah, okay.
But, I always guarantee you're going to get your 40 hours.
Yeah.
Usually plus if you want
it.
We're busy. And then, you just go down. You have team leaders, which are shift leaders or the managers. Then you have trainers, certified hospitality and culinary professionals, and you have team members. And so all those layers carry on more responsibility, more pay, more benefits for people to move up. So,
question for you. Sunday's closing. Does the community understand? Do you get a hard time on that? Do you ever see that changing? Is it just understood?
So, when Truett started, now remember, he started in 1946 with a Dwarf House Grill, South Atlanta near the airport. He and his brother started 24-hour diner. That's how he started. Wow. He did that for 21 years. 1967, he starts the first Chick-fil-A. So, he paid his dues for a long time. But even back then, the blue laws were going on. Nothing was open on Sundays. Mm. As Chick-fil-A went forward, now it became more of a pressure to, kind of thing. And he made that decision. That then became kind of a moral, ethical thing of, I want to stay closed on Sundays, give people a day of rest, because in the restaurant business, it's 7 days a week.
Sure.
It's all the time. Go to church, hang out with your family, do whatever you want to do. Literally give the restaurant rest. You know, we get to do things with repairs and maintenance, all that on Sundays that would be more difficult. And what he would say is, you know, being closed on Sunday makes the chicken taste better on Monday. So have you ever done that? You ever gone to a Chick-fil-A drive-thru on Sunday, just forgot?
Yes,
And then
all
you
the
get
time.
ticked off. This is a true story. This is we're in Colorado Springs. Peyton's probably 3 years old. I'm not Chick-fil-A. That's not even on the radar for me. Pull up on a Sunday after church and Chick-fil-A. I'm sitting there for a minute to get her little kids cone because she loved it. And I was poor. So I was like, 69 cents or whatever it was. That's like, oh no, sorry, honey, you know, they're closed. She starts crying. I'm like, trying to explain this is a good thing to this crying 3-year-old.
Yeah, that just wants her ice cream.
Here's an interesting story, and I've had this a few times over the years. Somebody comes in and you know, they kind of go, Mark, the customer, you're not real smart. Like, I know. I understand.
What a wonderful way to start the conversation.
Tell me why I'm not so smart, because I'm already aware of that. You know, you guys at Chick-fil-A, you're not smart. You're closed on Sundays.
You know how much more business you do if you're open on Sundays?
You know, 16. You know, I go, okay. Do you come here a lot? Yeah, I come here all the time. Why do you come here so much? And you just go, well, the food's good, but they start talking about one of our team members and the hospitality, all this kind of stuff, and they'll start naming names. And I've had this happen on more than one occasion. And then I say, you know, that person you mentioned, this person, that person, none of them would work here for me if we were open on Sundays. It's actually a competitive advantage for us to be closed on Sunday. Yeah. And then actually it is a draw. Like when you're closed on Sunday, it's like I can't get it.
Yeah.
It's kind of savvy, you know, in a lot of ways. But it was done on principle for sure.
Yeah.
And
I hope you stick.
Yeah, I like that you're not open.
Well, it's not going to change. We're 3 generations deep now. So we had Truett, Kathy, the founder, then Dan, Kathy. Now Andrew, Kathy, 3rd generation is our newer CEO. All 3 generations, family-owned business, right? Multi-billion-dollar family-owned business. The 3rd generation has signed off on certain things, and one of them is they're going to stay closed on Sunday. So in my lifetime, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
We'd be open. I think they understand the value of it. I don't know if a company could do that now coming up. I mean, I think we're also kind of fortunate that it was set in stone, and people like supporting Chick-fil-A because we're closing.
Mm-hmm. Well, we did. I was going to use that as a story. The Gents Place, when we opened here 6 years ago, we were open Sunday the first 3 years. And we closed on Sundays about year 4. Wow. And I had multiple members frustrated, upset, disappointed. I'm leaving. This is my day. I come and watch football. And I told these guys, I said, listen, the team, we kept turning team members over. All the new people had to work Sundays. Yeah. And I go to church. I don't want to be here. Right. And we closed on Sundays, and we retained and kept more of our people, and we had 0 revenue impact. 0 revenue.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And actually, the reason is we have a happier team that likes coming to work. That Sandra used to work on Sundays. Yeah. She used to say, listen, I really want to get off Sundays at some point. I said, well, it's based on how long you've been here, and some point we close Sundays, and couldn't be more thankful. And we haven't turned people over. Yeah. We still get a complaint occasionally, but the reality is it's been better for the business and 0 revenue impact.
Absolutely. I mean, there are people that probably would have, maybe Sandra would have quit at some point because she's like, I really want to have it, that off. And so and again, that's another place where you go, man, how can I be the best favorite front lines place for somebody to work? In the restaurant industry, that gives us a huge advantage, and so I don't think that's going to change for a long time.
And just staffing too. It's a lot easier to staff a 6-day-a-week operation than 7. Like people don't realize what it takes to put on that extra day.
I mean, I can't even imagine the added overtime that I already deal with some overtime, obviously, because we're so busy, but I can't even imagine. It would be exhausting.
Any final questions for Mark?
Yeah. Keep the chicken coming.
Man, well, I'm honored to be with you guys. I mean, and I got great taste in bourbon.
And we gave Rob a lesson today on healthier options on the menu.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The skinless, the nuggets,
get that
and the
soup.
The soup with the skinless nuggets. Forget the tenders.
Yeah. The grill's good.
It's good, yeah. It's good. Yeah, it's really good, especially as the weather gets a little cooler here. Yeah. So this has been fun.
Thank you.
Oh, cheers.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming in.
Cheers.
Eat more chicken, guys.
Yes.
Eat more chicken.